how to connect with your ideal client. Marketing is one of those things that feels so complicated and so overwhelming for people. As a business owner, you are really good at what you do. You know the stuff that you know inside out. But you also have to be an expert in so many other things: managing your business, doing the finance, sorting out IT, and marketing. And marketing is one of those things that people often feel overwhelmed by and also a little bit afraid of. And if you're afraid of marketing, quite often it means you don't do anything. And if you don't do anything, then your business will suffer because no one knows you're there. So the beginning of marketing is about connecting with your ideal client. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If we haven't met yet, I'm Kay King. I'm a marketing mentor, and I help business owners move past that fear and overwhelm and discover that marketing actually isn't that complicated. But you just need to know where to start, and when you do know where to start, you can make it work for you. So the way to make it start work for you initially is to that's how you might feel right now, but you won't after the end of this session, is to connect with your ideal client. So why is it so important to connect initially? When people make a buying decision, they make that decision on a very emotional level. So people don't decide what to buy based on what a widget does. They decide what to buy based on how that widget is going to impact their lives, how it's going to make them feel. And to be able to get through to your ideal clients, you need to be able to connect with them on an emotional level, because they will make a decision about whether to work with you on a purely emotional level, not a rational one. So you need to get to know them, and you need to get to know them quite well. And people often, when they're talking about marketing, talk about really complicated stuff, and they use lots of jargon like the USP and the value proposition and all of that, which is just quite complicated and unnecessary. And for me, it's a very simple thing that you need to think about. People will buy from you when they feel that they belong with you. They will only be able to feel that they belong with you when they feel connected. So when they can connect with you in terms of emotion and personality. So we all like to feel that we belong to a tribe or a group of people like us. So your marketing needs to make people feel like they belong with you. They'll only feel like they can connect and belong with you if they get it. That means if they completely understand quite quickly what it is that you're saying, how you can help them, and why they need to buy from you. And they will only get that if your story, your marketing messages are consistent, relevant, and true. So when you have the information you need to be able to convey those consistent, relevant, and true messages to connect with your ideal client so they can feel like they belong with you, then everything becomes so much easier and marketing is just a breeze. Okay, so to be able to make that connection, you start with 3 simple questions. Who do you help? How do you help them? And why are you different? The first of these we're going to talk about today, right now. Who do you help? You've probably heard people talk before about ideal client profiles or avatars. I hate the word avatar and I never ever use it, because we're not talking to technical bots, we're not talking to cartoons, we're not talking to digital icons. Our marketing is talking to real life living human beings, and we have to connect with them as a fellow human being. So when you talk about an ideal client as an avatar, you're instantly removing that personal human connection. So your ideal client is a person, it's a real life living person. And the reason it's important to think of your ideal client as a real life living person is because marketing is a conversation. Marketing is all about having conversations. That's all it is. So it's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to feel anxious about. It's just about having a chat with people who might be interested in what you've got to say, and who you can help, basically. So when you are thinking about who you're going to talk to, then think of it just as a conversation. So why do we need to create a picture of our ideal client? People will often tell you you've got to create a portrait or a picture of your ideal client. And the reason that we talk about that is because if you are just walking into a room and broadcasting to a whole load of people, if you were doing that in real life, you wouldn't just walk into the room and start shouting about yourself. You would find a smaller group of people in that room that you have a connection with, and you would ask them questions. You would start to find out a little bit more about them, who they are, where they live, maybe what work they do, what they enjoy doing, and you will so your marketing challenge feels complicated, but in terms of ideal client, yes, you struggle because your ideal client could be so many people from so many different sectors. That's a really, really common concern, and I will explain a little bit about why it's important to narrow it down. And when we talk about creating an ideal client profile, we're not saying that you can't work with somebody who isn't exactly like your ideal client profile. But by going through this process, it makes it easier for you to create those marketing messages that will attract that person and people like them, people who look like them. Although your potential clients can come from lots of different backgrounds or lots of different industries, they will have a common challenge or common needs or common motivations. So by going through this process of creating a picture of your ideal client, that helps you establish that connection and to address those problems, motivations, and needs. Hopefully that makes sense, and it will more as we go through. So when you're in that crowded room in your marketplace out there, if you're trying to talk to everybody all at once, your message is going to be quite vague and quite bland and quite uninteresting. So to be able to make it more relevant, more interesting, and less bland for the people you want to connect with, you narrow it down a little bit. You get to know a smaller group of people, and you connect and talk to them in a way that's relevant to them and that addresses who they are. Does that make sense? So creating your ideal client isn't about excluding people from working with you. It's about creating a picture of a person that helps you imagine who you're talking to when you're creating your marketing, so that you can create relevant, interesting, and important and thoughtful messages for your ideal client. So how do we do that? How do we create a picture of our ideal client? First of all, you can listen to your existing clients. So by talking and listening to your existing clients, you will get so much value and so much insight from them. So why did they come to work with you? Why do they stay with you? What do they get from you that maybe they don't get from someone else? You'll be really, really surprised what comes through if you just spend a few minutes during the course of your everyday business with your client, just asking them those kinds of questions. So it's not about you and what you do, it's about the impact of what you do has on their lives. And I'll say that quite a lot during these videos. So listen to your clients and think very carefully how what they're saying is transforming them and how the work you do has an impact on them. The second thing to think about when you're creating your ideal client is to do what you love. It's so, so important. We run our own businesses because we want to do work that we love, that we really enjoy. We want to be excited when the phone rings because we've got a new client. We want to be looking forward to every day when we get up in the morning to be doing work that properly inspires and motivates us. So thinking about your ideal client, it's equally important to think about the work that you love the most and also the work that you don't love, really, because you don't want to attract clients that you don't want to work with, and your marketing can do that. If you've narrowed it down to a particular type of person, your marketing will only attract people that you want to work with. So for example, if you're a garden designer, you might absolutely love the whole design process. You're a very creative person, you love drawing out the spaces, thinking about the planting schemes, but you really, really don't enjoy the actual installation of that garden. You know, the digging out the trenches for the patio, or the, you know, shifting heavy plants around, or big pots with trees in. And if you don't enjoy that, then you don't want to attract people who want a whole end-to-end garden installed. You don't want to work with people who want the design and the planting and the installation and the hard landscaping. So your ideal client will be somebody who is fed up with their garden, they want to get more out of it, but they want to be able to transform it themselves. So all they need is help with the design and how it's going to look. So by creating an ideal client around the work that you love doing, just the design part, you are already starting to narrow down your marketing messages so that you don't incorporate or attract people who want work that you don't want to do. Okay, so listen to your clients, think about what you love doing, and then start to create a picture. Who are these people? How do they spend their time? And just create one initially. You might find that you have maybe 2 or 3 different ideal client profiles. So for example, if you're a financial advisor, you will have clients who are private clients. An ideal target audience, if you like, will be private individuals who are looking for financial advice. But your target audience may also include accountants or solicitors who could potentially refer you to their clients for financial advice. In that instance, those two people are quite different, so it's important to create 2 different ideal client pictures. And that's okay, as long as you separate them out and don't try and talk to them both at the same time. I would suggest you only have 1 or 2 ideal clients at a time, maybe 3. If you have too many, it's too complicated, and this is about making life easy for yourself, not about making it harder. So think about who your ideal client is. How old are they? Do they have a family? Where do they live? Do they live in a town or a city, in the countryside? How do they spend their time? Do they enjoy active leisure things? Do they enjoy reading? And all of this is just about getting to know them as a person. It might feel a bit unnecessary, but the more you can create a picture of a real person, the easier you will find it to talk to them. Once you know who they are, or once you've, this is imaginary as well, think about existing clients that you work with to help you do this, but don't get hung up on one particular person that you already work with, because you'll find that restricts you a bit. So let your imagination run a little bit wild. Once you know who they are and what they like doing and where they live and what their job is and all of that, think about how they feel. How do they feel right now in relation to what you can do to help them? So what are they stuck with? What are they frustrated by? What do they worry about? What keeps them awake at night? What causes them frustration? This is about their emotions. So how are they feeling? Because remember, to connect, we need to tap into those emotions. So we need to know how they're feeling right now to be able to address that in our marketing. And then what are they looking for? So what transformation are they looking for in their lives? What impact are they looking for to help them move on, get past the problem they've got, or improve their lives in some way? So that's the impact. So that's your word picture, if you like. Who are they? How do they spend their time? How do they feel? What worries them? What frustrates them? And what are they looking for? And once you've got all of that, the thing to do is to write it down. It's really, really important that you write it down, because if it's just a vague thing in your head, it won't fix. And if it doesn't fix, when you come to write your marketing messages, your social media, your web copy, your 60 seconds pitch at a networking event, it will be vague and it will change and it will be a bit woolly. But if you've thought about it in detail and you've written it down, then it will become more real, and you'll be able to refer to it more and more frequently when you're working on your marketing. So my ideal client, one of my ideal clients, is Alison, and this is my description of her. And you'll see that I've highlighted some of those phrases in yellow, and those are the things that tell me how Alison is feeling right now. She's feeling very unsure of herself. She's feeling afraid of being judged. She's unclear, and she's stuck, and she's frustrated. Those are the things that I can help Alison with. So those are the things that my marketing needs to tap into when I'm trying to attract people like Alison. Once you've written it down, it's worth looking for pictures. So a picture, or a collage even better, will bring your ideal client to life. Now, don't spend hours on this. It's very easy to get sucked into the rabbit hole of Google and spend hours and hours looking for the perfect image. You won't find the perfect image. Limit yourself to 15 minutes or so. Find someone that looks like the person you've got in your mind. And also, what does their family look like? What are they, where do they live? So Alison, she's got a couple of teenage daughters. She's very busy. She's got tons and tons of stuff to do, always. She's quite an active person. She has quite a big network, but She is afraid of marketing. She's afraid of putting herself out there. So she hides in the shadows, which is why I've got that picture of Alison hiding behind the curtain. When you've got your word picture and your collage, fix them on the wall in your office or next to your desk, wherever you work, keep them visible, because by keeping them visible, you will always be able to think about them and refer to them when you're working on your marketing. So if you're sitting at your desk trying to go, what am I going to say in my Instagram this week? What am I going to write in my LinkedIn post tomorrow? You'll be stuck because you haven't got any point of reference. But if you go back to your ideal client, how they're thinking, how they're feeling, what's bothering them, that will inspire you to create messages that will talk to them. So have a go and tell me what your ideal client is called when you've created that message, that picture of your ideal client. So that is the way that you can create a picture of your ideal client. And that's how you answer that very first important question, who do you help? That's where all your marketing starts. Who do you help? So in the next video, we're going to talk about how you help. How do you help your ideal client? So thank you for watching and good luck, and let me know how you get on. You can follow me on Instagram, join my Facebook group, The Marketing Pop-In with Kay, or find me on LinkedIn, or drop me an email. But I'd really love to know how you're getting on. Thanks very much and take care. Good luck.